Layering sounds on top of each other is by no question the best way to achieve a big and professional sound. But layering can also be extremely difficult if you don't understand it properly and if you're just guessing around. My name is Nathan, and in today's video I'm going to show you the most important aspect of layering, and interestingly, I haven't seen many people talk about this, so let's just jump straight into it. So we're inside FL Studio, and what you see right here are the lead stems from a Kygo remake. I rendered this out to audio and normalized the waveform. You will see later why I did that. So this 80s brass lead right here has 4 layers, and I'm going to break down exactly why I used each sound and why it's actually working. But I'll give you a chance to find it out yourself, and maybe you can already guess why these layers work together. What did you notice here? Well, they're all quite different, but this is not exactly what I mean. I'll give you some time to think about it, and we'll come back later. But until then, I'm going to explain you what everyone else will tell you how layering actually works. And this is not necessarily wrong, but it's missing a quite important component. The first step for layering is to pick a sound that you're going to use as your main sound for the layers. This should already sound great and make sense with the rest of the song. This is really important because if you don't pick a sound that sounds great already and works with the other elements, you're gonna build your sounds on a really bad foundation. So make sure the first sound you're picking is a great sound and works with the rest of the song. In my case, it's this aggressive upfront synth brass that totally makes sense with the whole 80s vibe of the song and also works great with the drop pianos. Next, we start with the actual layering. Really important now, the sounds you pick now should not create a new sound. They should just support the main lead that you already picked. And therefore, the volume of each additional layer should also be lower. So your goal is basically to create a fat and full version of your main lead, just like I did here. A lot of producers think you should pick very similar sounds when you're layering, but in fact, quite the opposite is true. Each layer should sound different and should add something different to the layer, otherwise you're just creating a mess or you make the main lead just simply louder. Now the key here is that you find something that is different enough so it adds a new character to the lead, but also similar enough so it fits with the other sounds that are already there. And this is something that can sometimes take a while to find the right layer, so you just have to go through different sounds and try them out. So now we're coming to the main secret about layering. Most tutorials on YouTube will tell you that you should pick sounds with different timbres, which basically means different sound characteristics. But I personally find this tip way too vague, and most importantly, it's missing a quite important component. On the vector scope, you can see how wide a sound is. So if it goes to the sides a lot, you know it's wide. If it's just a line in the middle, it's more centered with less stereo content. You can probably already guess where this is going. I'm talking about stereo image. I'm going to play all 4 layers for you. Now have a close look at the vector scope. What you can see here is the actual reason they are working together. Layer 1 has a really wide stereo image and plays in the C4 octave. Layer 2 has a medium wide stereo image and plays in the C4 octave as well. And layer 3 has a very narrow stereo image, meaning it's quite centered and plays also in the C4 octave. All 3 layers complement each other perfectly because they are different in stereo image. A lot of producers are not aware of this, but you can actually layer sounds in the same octave and same frequency if they have a different stereo image. Layer number 4 is pretty wide, plays in the C5 octave, so that means that it is 1 octave above all the other layers and has a very similar sound characteristic as our main lead. That basically means it's not too different to stick out unnaturally. And the reason this one is working is simply because it's placed an octave higher the other sounds, so it's not fighting for space with the other 3 layers. And layer 1 and 2 also complement each other very well because they have a really different sound texture. Both are slightly different wide, but layer 1 has a more dense and aggressive upfront sound, while layer number 2 has a more airy sound and blends nicely with the background. As a general rule, and this is also why I wanted to make this video here, you can actually layer sounds in the same octave and in the same frequency if they have a difference in stereo image. So that basically means if they're differently wide. And if they don't have a different stereo image, you can actually try placing it an octave above or below. Also important to note is the envelope shape of layer 1 and 3. Layer 1 has a very slow attack, whereas layer 3 has a sharp and fast attack, almost like a plug. So they not only complement each other in stereo width, also in envelope shape, because layer 1 is giving space for the attack of layer 3. What you just learned in this video is part of my brand new sound selection masterclass, Selector, that is finally available now. If you struggle with sound selection and achieving a professional production quality, I highly recommend you go check it out. It's a 1.5 hour, straight to the point masterclass where I'll give you a completely new perspective on how you can achieve great sounding mixes without any fancy plugins or complicated mixing techniques. This is all about making producing less of a struggle, and you can find a link in the description below. Layering is quite a big topic and there's so much more to talk about it. There's kick drum layering, there's drum layering in general, there's harmony layering and so on. So if you're interested, I will create an additional masterclass similar to the sound selection masterclass, simply about layering and all the different techniques you can use. Let me know in the comments below if that's interesting for you. And with that being said, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video.